Meeting on Tuesday, August 3rd. As we always do, we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. The Pledge of Allegiance.
The flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First up on tonight's agenda is a discussion and possible vote on fall meeting date, time, and location. Dan, you want to come up to the table?
Sure thing. Mr. Chairman, select board members.
Melissa, is that you back there? Melissa, why don't you come up too? Because
Yeah, actually, yes, because I have I'm sure they have a question. I have
do,
a question
yeah.
for you in the middle.
welcome.
Thank you.
So Mark, if you'd like, I'll give a kind of
Sure,
a brief
that'd be great.
introduction. So with us also today is Town Clerk Liz Gaffey and Town Council Lauren Goldberg. I asked to have this discussion tonight so we can start to plan for town meeting. Obviously, we have a lot of capital articles on town meeting. We also have the big vote on what to do with the middle school building. So I wanted to have all the key people in the room at the same time. I've asked Lauren to opine on as to what we can do, obviously, with the governor lifting the emergency restrictions. We do have some flexibility. Lauren's provided a legal opinion that we can delay town meeting, delay by a week or so, and have town meeting, excuse me, outside on the Turco football field at the high school. And I just want a sense of where the board wants to go. I invited Dan in here, obviously, because he's a huge part of town meeting, and also Liz. So that's kind of where I'm at this point. So right now, town meeting is set to take place the third Monday in October, if we make no changes. What the motion you have drafted for you tonight is to hold town meeting on the following Saturday, which I believe is October 23rd, starting at, we'll start at 10 o'clock in the morning, so I'll kind of hand back to you.
Okay. Let me open it up generally for questions from the board, and then, we'll want to hear from Dan and Melissa and Liz as well. But any general questions right off the bat, or?
So it sounds like we're leaning toward the 23rd right now as the default, and then we're going to decide if that's what we want to do, or if we want to do a week before.
I think the legal opinion is we can.
We can.
We can change
we
the
may.
date after, it sounds like, is preferred as opposed to before the normal times, so.
I guess my only question might be for Melissa, because if in the event that there's a rain date, from what I understand, we were thinking about using the auditorium, and I was just curious what your opinion is on social
Sure.
distancing.
So, I think from a public health standpoint, I think outdoor is preferred than indoor. I think it's best practice to keep the airflow and all of that. I think, honestly, I don't know if necessarily they will implement social distancing at that time. It's hard to tell. But I think just things that we've learned along the way during COVID, I think we can continue to implement. So that would be my thought process in going this way. I don't necessarily think that they might ban people from going inside, but it's kind of like what we've learned along the way and best practices, and I don't think there was a negative to holding it outside, so that would just be my opinion
And just as
from
a
a public health standpoint.
As a follow-up, and I don't know if this is for you or for maybe for Dan, but then I just wanted to point out, and everybody here knows this, but I think on November 2nd, we've decided that we're going to have the referendum for the middle school. And so we want to have the vote at town meeting before the referendum. So obviously, we don't know what the weather's going to be if we're going outside. So from the 23rd gets delayed, and would it be delayed by a week to the 30th? I don't know if that's what would happen, or maybe to the next day, maybe.
Well, yeah, if I can.
Please.
Generally, what we've done so far in the past, we've had 3 outdoor meetings since the spring annual town meeting in 2020. So we used the following Sunday as our rain date, if that's the case. And I'm the one that had proposed, I think, Jim, I mentioned it to you before, is that, one option we have, first of all, stepping back for a second, outdoors has gotten overwhelming support. I have asked a number of people, RTM members now that we're out and about, that I bump into, not a single person has basically gone against the Saturday morning. And I haven't been specific to outdoors and so forth, but nobody seems to have qualms with it. And we've had a hot day, and we've had a cool day out there, and we've had a very nice day in New England. You're going to get all pieces of that, right? So we've even had a delay because of weather. So there's a lot of options there. We go to the next day. Yes, you're right if you go back, but I do think in my review of, and what town council is speaking to, is that, it's supposed to be on the third Monday, but after you can have it after. So, you know, if we had to, we could even go through a process where we could, you know, have a number of them, we could just continue it until the following Saturday. So, you know, there's an opportunity there that I believe is pretty open, and, you know, Lauren, I'm not sure if that's why you recommended the weekend after, right?
I'm happy to explain if that would.
Sure,
That's
please.
great, yeah.
I could just bring it,
Okay.
share.
We'll let you slide in.
Okay, no, I think not, because that'll be
okay.
really, really short. I mean, I'm already short. Thank you for having me, and it's nice to see everyone in person. So, under state law, chapter 39, section 9.
Hold on one second. Dan, could you slide the microphone over?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Under chapter 39, section 9, the select board, notwithstanding the provisions of a charter, bylaw, or special act to the contrary, has the ability to delay town meeting. And I think we've actually had this conversation in past years. What's different, or what was different in the last 3 town meetings that we've held outside, is that there was also a state of emergency called by the governor. And so the moderator had additional authority to change the time and date of the meeting based on a threat to public safety. And so that's what we relied on. Dan made the moderator made the declaration of recess and continuance, and then we went in a backward direction, but we had spoken with the AG about it, and they were fine. So essentially, the governor's state of emergency is gone. We still have the authority in Chapter 39, Section 9, to push back town meeting. And if there's something like a weather emergency or something of that nature, or a change of COVID status, the moderator still has the ability to recess and continue based on public health and safety. So that option is still there. Let's hope we don't need to use it. Thank you.
Nancy?
I think it's a fabulous idea. I think we've had success. I think we've had all kinds of weather. The 23rd still does give us the 30th if we need to be, to make sure that it is important that we're before the November 2nd. People are worried, people are nervous, and as we've gone through this entire roller coaster, nobody knows what's gonna happen next, that I think the safest and most responsible thing is to continue outside. And I think it'd be kind of silly not to, myself. One thing I do have a concern for is that now that we have the space, is that is football, field hockey, soccer season, and the high school turf is very important to those teams, that I would request that we make sure that we, for both of those dates, just in case, until we know, that one of the new turf fields on that Saturday is designated for those teams, because we are blocking it off of the high school.
We've already checked for Saturday. We're all set on Saturday. We have that booked. I haven't checked for Sunday, so.
Yeah,
I
whatever
wanted to
whatever the
find out
backup
tonight.
days are, that in case that all happens, they have those places to
I
go.
wanted to find out tonight because I think we've measured it out in the auditorium before. We had everything mapped out in there. With the old restrictions, we could socially distance in there. We do masks, but again, we could figure that out as we get closer, but I'd prefer to just get it all done on that Saturday, if we're allowed to.
Yeah, I mean,
If the weather's poor, we'll just do it in there and we'll socially distance.
There's plenty of people that still don't want to go out. They still don't want to be with people, and,
So I'll book that
everybody
Sunday.
has their own reasons, so I just think it's the most responsible thing to do.
Jim?
Yeah, and I agree. I think it's absolutely sensible, and we can do it. We've done it and done it well. Dan, to your point, it's been very well received. Speaking as a town meeting member, I have thought it went very, very well, and we're able to wrap up the whole, warrant in the one sitting, which I think is really helpful. So I'm all for it.
Ben, any comments or questions?
No, I think it's a common sense idea, so I don't have anything to add.
So do we have to lock in the specific backup today? One of our options is to say, we'd like to do it Saturday, the 23rd. Backup options are being looked into, but it could be Sunday at the turf. could move indoors depending on COVID status, and leave it open for now until we know. I'm just throwing that out as an idea. I don't,
If I'm not mistaken, once the select board determines what the location is, the time and the place, it then falls within my power to change?
Once they post the warrant.
Once they once they post the warrant.
So we could always meet, because remember, we had to meet in one of the days, just postpone it 4 hours.
Yep,
So
that's exactly what we did. So I'm all for the Saturday, Sunday rain date, and then we can take it as it comes to, we don't know, we've got a little surge going on now, right? So we might even be in a situation where we really need to be outdoors and we shouldn't be indoors at all. So I think we leave that time to play out a little bit as we do right now, and then we'll set that later from my perspective.
that's why I didn't want to pin down a backup date, just because we don't really know what's going to happen a couple months from now, so.
Yeah, and Mr. Chairman, I 100% agree, you don't need to pick the date. I think the backup date, I think the goal is to kind of get this into people's minds that it's not going to be on Monday night, October 18th, and that it would be on the 23rd, that would be the plan, so people can plan accordingly. But should you need to have a backup date, that can go in the warrant, which we did, I think the last one, we put it right in the
We did.
warrant, or not. So again, we have other options, procedural options with the moderator that can make changes if we need to, once the warrant's posted.
Thanks. Let me go to Liz real quick. I know you've been through this 3 times outdoors, but do you see any problems with another outdoor town meeting, or you?
No, I think it's been a great success, and,
I'm sorry, could you come to the microphone, or, I keep forgetting,
We get the hairy eyeball.
they can't hear you at home on TV, so the vast audience wants to know.
no, I think it's been a great success, and I think it's something we should continue. I like it, COVID or no COVID, I think it's nice outside.
Okay.
You know what, the microphone, you just made me think of something. I know that that's been an issue with the viewers on TV, the wind, so maybe if we could get some windscreens. I'll just throw it out right now, because I know that it's been
Good idea.
one thing there.
Jim is on it tomorrow.
I'll have Donnie's guys build a couple.
So
No,
I've heard
that'd be
I've
great.
heard that from some other, towns and moderators who use the
That's a
windscreens.
problem we should be able to solve, so it's been solved by others. We just need to buy whatever the device is. All right, if there's no more questions, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion in accordance with the provisions of General Law C-39, Section 9. The Select Board vote to delay the date of town fall meeting until Saturday, October 23rd, 2021.
Do we have a second? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Unanimous vote? Thank you.
10 a.m.?
I was gonna say it
10
tonight.
a.m.
I was gonna say, we'll just stay with, I don't think the time matters, but we'll stay with 10 a.m. again, I think.
When they
Great.
sign the warrant, I'll say that. Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks.
Next up, we have a vote to appoint candidate Bradley Harrison to the position of firefighter/paramedic. Chief Bailey, please come up. Welcome, Chief.
Thank you, Select Chair and members of the board. This evening, I bring before you Bradley Harrison. Bradley has had experience with both the Rentham and Plainville Fire Departments. He is a nationally registered paramedic. He comes from a family of people who have served in the fire service, mostly in the town of Rentham, but I will introduce him to you, and you can ask him to expound upon that further if you'd like.
Sure, please. Bradley, come on up. Welcome. We've all seen your packet, so why don't you give us a minute or two of, anything you'd like us to know about you?
All right, good evening. My name is Bradley Harrison. I live in Plainville, Massachusetts. Currently, I'm a paramedic. I work for Brewster Ambulance Company. Currently, I work for the Framingham 911 system on the ambulance, so I'm getting a good experience doing that. I come from a family of firefighters. My father, my grandfather, my uncle are all firefighters in the town of Rentham. And I'm very, very excited for this opportunity to become a member of the Walpole Fire Department.
So when did you know you wanted to be a firefighter or paramedic?
From day one.
Okay, I assumed that, but any other questions or comments for Bradley?
No, just welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
Congratulations, and look forward to working with you.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you for choosing Walpole.
Thank you.
I'd entertain a motion.
I will make a motion to appoint Bradley Harrison to the position of firefighter/paramedic with the Walpole Fire Department.
Second?
So we have a motion, a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Congratulations,
Thank you for
welcome
the
aboard.
opportunity. Thank you very much.
Next up, vote to appoint John Lightbody to the position of Emergency Management Director.
Mr. Chairman, so if I
Jim?
could give like
Sure.
a brief introduction here. John Lightbody, everybody knows him, he's seen him around, he served as the deputy director since 2009. With the passing of Roger, John, even before stepped up, assisted Roger. However, Roger needed assistance. The fire chief, the deputy chief, and I are both very, very, very comfortable with recommending him to serve as the next emergency management director. He's been doing the job since Roger passed without even being asked. He stepped right up. So I make that recommendation to appoint John as the emergency management director.
Thanks, Jim. John, you want to come up, say a few words? Well, welcome anyway, so.
Evening. I'm looking forward to working with the different town departments. I'd like to get the whole town involved a little more in emergency, preparing for emergencies, and there's a lot more that can be done to do that.
Great. We're lucky to have you, so I know you'll do a great job.
Thank you.
Anybody else that,
I was just gonna say,
Glenn?
I've known John for a long time, and there's nobody more qualified that I could think of, so I was gonna say, thanks for stepping up and doing it, and doing the job, taking the job, and if you need anything from us, I'm sure you have a lot of ideas, so just let Jim know and let us know if we can do anything to help you.
Thank you.
Jim?
Yeah, and likewise, great to have you in the role, John. Really pleased with that. One of the things that we've learned over the last couple of years is that, things can change and change quickly.
Right.
And none of us would have thought that we'd be where we are today with this pandemic. And there have been a number of other things that have happened as well that require strong responses from the town. So as you're settling into the new role, I think it's going to be important for us to be thinking about, what the new world of crisis management is really all about, and how this role plays into that, because something tells me we haven't seen the end of these things.
Right.
Yeah, thanks, appreciate it.
Ben?
Yeah, and I really enjoyed what you said about kind of maybe outreach or getting more in the community aware of what's going on. I know that I've been in town about 6 years, but we do have a lot of turnover in town. So getting people more knowledgeable about, what you do and what the group does, and, what roles you'd have in certain situations so people can be expecting it. I think that's great.
I'm looking forward to that, and we've got a lot of volunteer groups in town that are kind of looking for things to do, and it'd be nice to get them all kind of working on the same page.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Great. Nancy?
I also want to say thank you, and it's great that, it's a huge void for Roger being missed, but to know that you just jumped in and then took that leadership role also shows that you are the right candidate for it. So thank you very much. And with that being said, I'll make a motion to appoint John Lightbody to the position of Emergency Management Director.
Second?
Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Congratulations, thank you.
Very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Next up, we have the Walpole Veterans Service Committee. Discussion and possible vote in the implementation of the Hometown Heroes Banner Program on the town common. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm Rita Meinskow, I'm chair of the committee, and David Ferrara, vice chair. So thank you, select chair and board, for allowing us to talk about the Hometown Heroes Banner Program. You may have actually seen these banners in other towns. I personally haven't, although Dave ran into some on his trips. It's not going to be a unique program to Walpole, but what will be somewhat unique is there will not be any cost to the applicants who want to participate in the program. The Walpole Veteran Services Committee will be covering the cost of the design, the production, the installation, and the replacement of these banners. The banners will be located on the light posts in the Veterans Park, which is on the Veterans Common. There are 8 light posts. One of the posts will have a banner for our committee, the other 7 will be for veterans or active duty members of the military. Each banner is 24 by 36 inches, and our intent is for the banners to remain in place for a year, depending on how they weather. If they become tattered or weather worn, then we'll reassess this and probably look at doing this every 6 months. We certainly don't want to be disrespectful to our service members by having weathered flags up there. Each banner, we don't have a specific design yet. We are working with Printworks, so we do have a quote for it. Each banner will have, along the top of the banner, Walpole Salutes or Walpole Honors. It'll be the name of the veteran, their photo, ideally in uniform, but not necessarily, mandatory, because that might not be feasible for everybody. So their name, their branch of service, and then we will have an optional line to put their era, whether it's Korean War, World War II, any preferred criteria from the requesters, such as Purple Heart or sadly POW, killed in action. What else?
The banners, the 24 by 36 banners, we measured the lamps that are out there to make sure that aesthetically they match, that they weren't too big. So you're all used to looking at the banners that are going up and down Main Street, and those are bigger because they're on a bigger pole. So these poles will look proper up against the light lamps. And just like the ones in the center of town, all the hardwood will stay. It'll just, once they're up, it'll just be the banners that will be replaced. And I think we're looking at possibly, as far as installation, should I go there?
Go ahead.
The installation, we're gonna cover the cost of everything. And so we can either have the company that's doing the banners put it up, or if you're more comfortable with the DPW doing it, we are more than happy to share the cost.
My suggestion is work with Jim and figure out what makes the most sense, so.
Yeah, because the other thought is have Printworks install the initial brackets. Or Sinorama. Have Sinorama install the brackets, and then DPW replace the banners when replacement is due. To kind of offset the cost, so we can put that money towards future banners.
Great, I think it sounds like a great program, so Nancy?
I think it's absolutely beautiful. The funding that you received to do this, do you need a revolving account that people could be donating to having these flags? Or do you already have a funding source?
We operate strictly on donations and fundraising.
So, I know for other things, Jim, we have like revolving accounts
We can
that.
set up a gift account.
A gift, a gift account, that's what I meant to say, I'm sorry, not revolving.
And I
A
believe
gift
what we-
account specifically for this banners and veterans?
We would eventually need it, yes, because if we're gonna continually do it, then as we're trying to raise funds, to have other people say they wanna help do that and designate that money for that would be wonderful.
Yeah, and I even hesitate to say eventually, because I love
I would
to-
say from the beginning, we should start, because when people first see them go up, I mean, it's, like, I just think of my dad, like, you know what I mean, that it's,
Right. I
and
have my dad's World War II Navy picture, and
Right, exactly. So I would suggest, I'm assuming we're voting for this, but I would suggest that we also maybe open a gift account from the beginning, so that when this program starts, that as people see them fresh, and it's fresh in their mind, and if they wanted to gift, to be able to keep this going forever, I think that we should do that. So I don't know if we move forward with this, you come forward after, or what anybody wants to do.
You can move forward with this and then establish the gift account. We can start with something modest with that. It's not a big deal.
another discussion we had, depending on the excitement and interest from the town, and I think it's going to be great, is based on the size of these banners being 24 by 36, it would actually be aesthetically pleasing to have two side by side on one pole because they're small in nature. So if the demand is that huge, we don't want people waiting years.
Right.
So that would at least allow us to put up 14 every 6 months or every year, depending on the durability.
I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea, and I like Nancy's idea of having a gift account established. Because, you know, as you notice, we pretty much accept gifts every time we meet for a variety of groups within town. So it'll just make it easy for people. And you may fundraise separately as well, but this will be one way. It'll just be sitting in that account until you're ready to spend
It's
it.
much
so.
appreciated.
The committee would be very
Glad you-
excited about that, absolutely.
So let me go around. Ben, do you have any questions or comments?
I think it's a great idea. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jim?
I think it's a really, really great idea. I'm very enthusiastic about it. She liked the idea of doing two on a pole, because one of my thoughts has been, you very well may have a lot of demand, and especially if you're gonna leave them up for a year, it could take quite a long time to run all the names through. And so getting two on a pole, I think it would look better too. I like that whole idea, so maybe we should explore that a little bit, but it's a great idea. Thank you for bringing it forward.
Glenn?
Yeah, I agree with Jim, and thanks for putting the effort into the thorough, like, you know, you put a lot of research into it, and you brought all the information to us, so it looks great, and thanks for putting all the work in. Appreciate it.
And
Thank
I'll
you.
make a motion, and before that, I have a feeling that it is gonna go further. You know, there is then South Walpole Common, there's the horse statue in East Walpole that doesn't have lights yet, but would look really nice. That I think there is also room to expand.
Absolutely.
You know, beauty and honor in the town. That being said, I'd like to make a motion to approve Walpole Veterans Service Committee request to implement the Hometown Heroes banner program.
Second?
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I'd like to make a motion to establish a gift account for the Walpole Veterans Service Committee for donations to support the Hometown Hero Banner Program.
Oh, Jim second, motion and second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Great, thanks for coming forward with the idea, and
Thank you.
we think it's great.
All right, thank you kindly.
Thank you
Let us
very
know if we can
much.
help.
Yep, much
Will do.
appreciated.
Are you guys Patriots Tavern? Yes. Okay. I didn't want to start if you weren't here yet, because you're not on the agenda for another 10 minutes, but vote request of Patriots Tavern for change of manager to Emmett Donovan and change of DBA name to Cedar House. So somebody should come on up, or a couple people.
You can pull up an
Yeah,
extra
just
chair
drag a
if you
chair
want.
over if you want. Welcome.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Here on behalf of Michael Robinson and the Patriot Tavern Inc., we're seeking to amend their license, first by changing the DBA from Patriot Tavern to Cedar House. That'll be the new name of the establishment. They have a new format, a new menu, and they'd like to, sort of give it just a different feel, so they changed the name, and they're also looking to seek the appointment of a new manager, Emmett Donovan. Emmett is tip certified. He's been in the business since 1993. He served as a manager of Tommy Doyle's from 2005 to 2010, and he currently works as a bartender at the Porterhouse Cafe since 2010. So we're looking for a change in the DBA name and a change in the manager for the Patriot Tavern.
Great. Eve, were you happy with all the paperwork?
Yes, everything's all set.
Okay, great. I'll open it up for questions.
I'm just curious when you're opening and what the plan is, what's going on over there?
What's the menu gonna look like?
Yeah.
We have menus if you want to look at
Okay.
it. We're hoping to open in the next couple weeks,
Yeah, great.
pending inspections, and, we're getting there, but it's,
Is this a second location, or is there?
no, it's the first.
First, okay, great, yeah,
Same owners, and he's just gonna run it for us, and,
that's great.
Pandemic killed us, so we're hoping to get his expertise in there, like you said, change it up and, make it a place to go to again.
We're glad to have you back. That's
Thank you.
great.
Jim?
Yeah, I think it'll be great to have you back, and thanks for bringing along the menus too. It's good. But, a question for you. Some time ago, and I don't know if this is part of the facility in the lot or not, but cleared a bunch of trees in there. And I'm just curious, I never really knew what was happening. Can you share, what's happening with the trees, why they were cleared and all that?
The trees were cleared because we had a storm, and we own 14 Bullard Street as well, and it almost took out the house. So I had a tree company come out to remove, it had all the vines on them, and I had them, was gonna have them remove a bunch of trees that were jeopardizing the houses, and they said they're all dead. Take them all out.
Gotcha.
And I said, all right, makes sense. I, checked to see if it was conservation land. It wasn't, so we just kind of cleared the lot.
Yeah.
And it is, we are hoping at some point to go through the process and get additional parking, because one of the problems with the tavern is
Exactly.
it's limited parking and it's dangerous. People park on 1A. But we're gonna go through the process with building department and everything, and if it works out, great. If it doesn't, I'm sure he'll work with what we have.
Good. Well, congratulations. Look forward to seeing it come back open again. Thank you.
Hope so,
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah.
All right, great.
Ben? Nancy?
I'm just excited that you're reopening, it's signs that, we're doing well and things are moving forward, and that's important. Yes, it's been a
So
while.
we're happy too that we can do it, so.
That's super.
Yeah.
Can I make a motion?
Sure,
You all set?
please.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the request of Patriot Tavern, Inc. for a change of manager to Emmett Donovan, and a change of doing business as name to Cedar House.
Second?
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Congratulations.
Great. Thank you, everyone.
Good.
Hope to see you
Good
then.
job.
Stay well. All right.
Take care.
So next on the agenda is Susan Jankowski, Keep Walpole Beautiful, but I don't think she's here yet, so, and we're running a little early, so how about if we just keep going? Stadium parking? Jim, you want to?
Sure. Mike has been hard at work at this, along with Eva and Mike's staff. We met earlier this week with, was it last week? I got to lose track. We reviewed it internally with all the department heads. Mike's office has reviewed it. We're comfortable with going forward with these 4 recommendations. I believe we just got a request at some point today, too, so I expect there'll be another request, at least one more, coming at your next meeting. Mike, anything really to add?
No, so we're hoping to, Mr. Chairman, Mike Yanovich, Building Commissioner, members of the board, we're hoping to send out a reminder notice to the list of people who qualify within that quarter mile, just to let them know, hey, town meeting has passed, this article passed, stadium parking is in effect. We have an event coming up. I think the first event is August 12th. So we're going to send a reminder out, just reminding people that it is in fact in force now. We'll be out there looking to see what's going on. But, we have 4 licenses, 4 applications in, and one that came in today. We're hoping to get more, seeing as I think we probably had 25, 30, 35 parking lots operating at any time during stadium events. But I think there's a learning curve for everybody, including our office. It went fairly smooth this week. We went out to the sites, we measured, eliminated some parking spaces just due to feasibility and dimensional constraints. But the people we spoke to were all fairly happy with what's going on and supportive of the process. So I don't think it's going to go off sunshine and rainbows, but we at least have the process in effect now. And it's not a giant enforcement event that it's been in years past. As I said, when this went to town meeting, we have pictures from the 1980s that the detectives took of overcrowding on people's lots with vehicles and whatnot. So, the citizens did their thing. They had a citizen's petition. It finally went through. The process worked for them, and here's where we are.
Yeah, I'm glad that we have a process, so I think once people see some licenses flowing through, more people will step up and try to do the same thing. That would be my guess, so this was the first batch, so I'm glad the process went well and people understood where you're coming from. I like the fact that you'd measured spots and, have a plan to make each of those spots viable and, not create more problems, so. Nancy?
I agree, and some people might want to just see how it goes with these people, like their neighbors, and they, also may not want strangers on their lawns yet, you know what I mean? So it could be kind of a curve, and the people that are doing it great, they just kind of want to watch, and, you know, I think it will work itself out. And probably not everyone having it at first is good.
We have heard from some people down there that they're afraid that Gillette will shut off attendance. So they're a little leery of entering into a license agreement before they know
Right.
that Gillette's gonna be open for
That makes
spectators
sense.
during the game. So that's another issue that may be playing in, so.
It's a very good point.
Any other comments or questions? Jim?
I just am so glad we're doing this. Glad the article passed, glad we got the process in place, Mike, and that it's going forward and it's a reality. I think it's long overdue. So really, really pleased to see us doing this. Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve stadium event parking lot license at 26 Water Street with 23 spaces, at 1886 Washington Street with 65 spaces, at 40 Water Street with 29 spaces, and at 55 Water Street with 30 spaces.
I'll second that. Any further discussion? We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Mike.
Suzanne? Is everybody here? We're running a little early, so I noticed you weren't here, so we went on with other business. Oh, okay, no, okay. If you're all set, come on up, yep. And you can pull other chairs up. This is Suzanne Jarkowski, Keep Walpole Beautiful, discussion and vote on Memorial Pond improvements.
Yes. And Alicia and Lisa, we're all the leadership on the committees, yes. So what do you need from us to hear? What we're trying to do is look for DPW time to remove the wall, and we have reasons why and what we're gonna do with it, and try to raise money within different sanctions, I guess, to do different parts of it, to help beautify it and memorialize it, I guess, if you will.
So why don't you give us a minute or two on your sort of vision, and I think that will help us all, and then we can see what kind of questions we have.
Okay, well, we can,
Yeah.
You're good
So,
at that.
every time we walk by that memorial wall, and because we're with Keep Walpole Beautiful, we spend a lot of time cleaning up the town, and we have a series of annual cleanup. With COVID, we couldn't do it, but we, as a group, have been cleaning up Walpole all over. So we frequently clean up behind that wall, a memorial pond, and we usually find beer cans and wine and just lots of things that are just thrown back there, and people tend to hunker back there because they can hide out. And so it really isn't offering any value except for kind of just not being that attractive. And so because that area is so pretty and because the library's there, we'd love it if that wall that's serving no purpose could come down, and the Keep Walpole Beautiful Committee would kind of spearhead taking that property and beautifying it. We'll put in gardens, we'll get some, feedback from different, areas within the town that want to help us. We've had really a lot of success fundraising because people see the planters, and, we've done it in a short amount of time, and I think we've, garnered some respect within the community and things that we can do with a small group of people. So.
Part of the, with the wall down and the gardening, we were gonna memorialize the veterans too, as well, because they've been a support of this, right? So they were part of this. Because initially, I think everybody thought that there was a memorial there. There was a historical reason that wall was there, and there isn't. So I think the vets actually even might have thought that it was there for them, and then they realized it's not. So they're in for us trying to help make the gardens and put educational, little plaques around it with gardens and places to sit, just a couple more picnic tables that go with what's already there, just to sit there, and they can fish, and and we'll maintain it as we do with the planters and other places around town that we take care of.
One of the issues that I had was we spent all this money to dredge up that pond, and every time you drive by, you can't even see it. So it's completely blocked by that, I call it the butt wall.
kind of like.
Let me go to Jim next.
So a few weeks ago, we met with Rick Mattson, Landis Hershey, our conservation agent, Drew Hand from Highway, Justin from Parks, myself out on the site. Drew thinks he could take the wall down in less than a day, probably an afternoon. He didn't see any real issue with it. Landis had no problem with it at all. So from our perspective, it's not going to involve much.
Nancy?
I love it. The only thing is, have we checked officially with the Historical Commission Society?
That was one thing that Rebecca said she was going to reach out to them, and
I would just want to make sure that it,
Yes. we
officially,
definitely
that
have
they just sign off on it.
Yep.
I wouldn't want us to take it down and then all of a sudden there be a
Well,
hoopla.
that's what we were trying to say, is that we don't believe there is any historical value, but we have to confirm that, I agree. All right,
Glenn?
So I think it's a good idea. I love your work, and we could go on many different projects you've done in Walpole. So I love the fact that you've taken this and you're running with it. The wall can come down. I guess I want to support you, so I want to make sure I understand what's going to happen after the wall comes down. And I know you're talking about plaques, and I know you're talking about educational material, and that's good. I'm not sure if I have a complete vision in my mind of what it's going to look like. So I don't want to take the wall down and say, okay, let's piece this together. I kind of want to like have a grasp, and I don't necessarily need to have the understanding, but I would want you to have the understanding.
I think
yeah,
are we
go ahead.
even to the point of where things will be, and I don't think we're that.
So but you're gonna
Right,
do it in the
oh.
right order. You're not gonna take the wall down. You're gonna
Right, no, if the
decide
wall's
what it's
coming
gonna
down,
be,
we
yeah.
will design that.
It'll be
and-
ready,
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
I do wanna point out-
We have the vision, but,
Good.
and I think we started, a couple years ago when we started this committee, we started to try to put, we wanted to get more places to sit that were, and there are nice tables there now.
Yeah.
And we wanted to get more of those, but there just was nowhere for them to go. So we started that and then we stopped because there was, we couldn't go any further. So we already kind of had a vision of what we wanted, and once that's down, we can quickly put that together.
So my comment is I would want it to be done right. I don't want to be done, if you have limited resources, I'd want to get you more resources, right? So we can do it bigger and better. Because if we're going to do it, I'd want to do it now, or at least have a plan so that I'll say, okay, we're going to do this piece now and this piece in a year when we have more money. So if the board or if Jim wants to comment on whether or not we have more resources available to help with this, or I don't know if we're at that point yet, but when we get to that point,
I think the only thing we didn't do was the historical aspect of it. So if the board wants to give permission contingent upon the historical commission signing off on this,
Yeah.
that'd be appropriate.
I think Glenn's also mentioning layout, because it is definitely within conservation's purview. So Landis would have to be signing off on any work that is done within that buffer. So she would be somebody that would, I would think, because I think that's also what you're talking about. You want a phased plan, so much like if you were going for a limited site plan or anything like that, and I don't mean a full, I'm not talking like, you go hire an engineer or something like that. But I think there, we need to see what your budget is and what you actually have. And then we need to see what your vision is on a piece of paper that is, a rough draft, that Landis can probably be the one that can be working this.
She was pretty adamant that she didn't see any issues.
No, I know she didn't see any issues, but because once you start working within the buffer of conservation, you then don't want to be sitting there on a Saturday doing some kind of work and then somebody filing a conservation complaint against you.
Where do we go for that conservation
Well,
approval?
So
Is that-
Landis, who,
Okay.
she can help with that.
So it
So-
would be contingent on conservation confirming what area we can or we cannot
Right, so I,
place a garden.
In the historical part, right?
yeah, so we've just got to figure out the historical part, and then maybe sit down, I don't know who you want to designate.
No, everyone I probably mentioned, I involved Mike in the building department, just
Yeah, so maybe Mike and Landis, they're probably just the two best people.
DPW.
And DPW, between those three representatives.
Justin's works close with us on all the planters, and he's.
Yeah, so between those three, they can probably help you navigate a plan that is suitable, and they will probably understand what we're talking about and that we're supporting you.
Yep.
And then that way we can have probably what you're looking for, Glenn, a phased approach and to make sure that you have the money to start the project, and if you, where we'll go from there.
Absolutely. Can I follow up? So I wanted to point out, and I see Pat DeShane's in the back, and he and I have been talking and emailing about the Bay Circuit Trail, which is 8 miles in Walpole from Medfield to Sharon. But it runs right through Walpole Center, and it runs right through Memorial Pond. That trail behind Memorial Pond that goes behind the pool is part of the Bay Circuit Trail. But not nobody, it's not necessarily widely known that that's the case. I mention it to everybody I know, and I take people back there, but I do think that there could be better markings. What Pat DeShane and I were talking about was how to better highlight the Bay Circuit Trail, not just at Memorial Pond, but as it cuts through Walpole Center. And so that's maybe a broader question,
That
but
could
it,
be part of the educational part that we add to that, yeah.
I would want to highlight it for sure, and certainly talk to, and get with Pat, if you haven't already, to get his insight on that. But I just wanted to mention that, too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
no,
a great
that's,
idea. I love that.
absolutely. I didn't know that was there.
Yeah, we cleaned that path earlier this spring, but I didn't know it was part of that
It is,
whole-
yeah.
That's great.
Let me go to Ben.
Yeah, I was just wondering, and I don't know that you all know, but maybe it's more of a question for Jim and other members of the board, but where did that wall come from and why was it built? I mean, not saying that it's from the,
Ice skating.
Hideout when people used to skate on it years back.
there was a sign on it, right?
Yeah, it had a roof, and you could sit in there and put your skates on and off, so you could be skating on the pond.
There was a sign that said it was a memorial for something, though, wasn't there?
There was a sign on there for the pond, water
bring
fountain
this-
that was
sure.
there, but it's no longer there.
Yeah, so,
Because when we first started looking at that, which was a couple of years ago, there were some folks that were keen on refurbishing it.
the Skogseff family,
Yeah.
it was
So-
for their family, they had donated the fountain.
Okay. All right.
Well, the fountain's gone now, right?
Yeah.
That-
Fountain's
that got
gone,
removed.
the plaque was there, but the plaque is now gone, okay. Just wanted to make sure that we had all the bases covered. I think it's a fantastic idea.
I guess it was a really fun hideout back in the day for the dances at Blackburn Hall, too.
Oh,
what I
no,
heard.
don't say that.
It had a lot of uses. We're gonna just make it beautiful, that whole area.
Jim, any comments or questions?
We have some beautiful ponds in Walpole, and I agree with you, sometimes we don't get the maximum benefit of them, and that wall does definitely get in the way. I'm glad that we're gonna pursue the questions of the historical nature of it and all that, we should understand that. But assuming that there's nothing there, I totally support taking it down. It will open that up very nicely, and Memorial Pond, after we've dredged it, it's a real pretty pond. And so,
Swans and everything.
oh, it's just a beautiful place, and so I like this idea a lot, and the broader visioning that you've got around, the plantings and the potential with the Bay Circuit Trail and other stuff. I also just want to thank you for all the work you've been doing around Walpole. So it's wonderful to see volunteer groups get involved like this and really make a difference, and you've been doing that, so thank you.
Yeah, it's fun.
Welcome, we love it.
Great, thanks. Nancy?
I'll make a motion to approve the request of Keep Walpole Beautiful to coordinate the Memorial Pond improvements, which include the demolition of the brick wall after review by the after sign-off from the Historical Commission, and under the guidance of Conservation, Building Department, and who did you say? And DPW.
Sounds good.
Second?
All right.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Hey,
Thank you.
thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
I'll
Guys.
sign it.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Nice to meet you all.
You too, thank you.
Thanks, have a good night.
Have a good night.
With the time being 7:55, is there anybody here for open forum? Seeing that there's not, we'll keep moving. Economic Development Commission, Main Street Live request for September 17th, 2021.
Make a motion to approve the request to use Town Common for Main Street Live event and close Elm Street between West and Main, and approve the request for the one-day entertainment permit for the event.
Second?
So we have a motion and a second. Patrick, did you want to weigh in and make any comments, or? Come up to the microphone if you do, so, you don't have to, but,
No, if anyone has any questions.
okay. So we have a motion, a second. Do we have any questions for Patrick or others? Seeing as we don't, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye. I'll make a motion to approve the request for Destination Downtown to use the Common for August 15th, 2021, from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m., and approve the request for the one-day entertainment permit as a part of the Walpole Porch Fest event.
Second?
We have a motion, a second. Any further comments or questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I'll make a motion to approve the request for Porch Fest 2021 planning team for a one-day event permit on August 15th. Is this the same one?
Yeah, so the Destination Downtown are planning it for the use of the Common, and then this committee are using a couple of different locations around the area. So I believe there's one at the church on Front Street, another address on Common Street, and at the new apartments. I think there's something down there, so they're kind of like part of the,
Porch
yeah,
Fest.
pretty much.
Okay.
So,
So are there two different documents for each of these?
yes.
So what are the references to amend my motions, just so that we can know? Because otherwise, the motions are Porch Fest event or et cetera. Okay, all right, I can leave it. Permit on August 15, 2021, from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. at several properties in the downtown area.
Second?
We have a motion, a second. I also see Harry Mercedes. Harry, if you want to make a comment, come into the microphone, just so,
Only if you have any questions, I'm representing Destination Downtown.
okay, perfect. Any questions for Harry? I think it's a great idea, so anything we can do to get people moving through downtown and downtown, I think is great. So, motion is second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I'll make a motion to award bid contract number 2021-28 for crack sealing and fiber reinforced method in the amount of $39,915 to Indus.
I'll second that.
Oh, sorry.
Jim, do we have any comments?
No, 2 bids were received, and this is the lowest, most responsive bidder, and we've worked with them before, so recommend favorable action.
Okay.
Just out of curiosity, what is fiber reinforced? What does that actually mean?
It's the crack ceiling that you see in the
that
roads,
like-
the S, sometimes you'll see them as S's or squiggly
Yeah.
lines in the middle of the road.
But the fiber reinforced
That's just
part?
a standard one that Drew Hand.
It's got fiber in the liquid.
It's just literally got fiber and liquid, holds it together like, almost like rebar.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, got it, okay.
Do we have a motion, a second? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I'll make a motion to appoint Henry Cirque, Jacqueline Mikulowski, and William Maloney as animal control officers for the town of Walpole.
Second?
So we have a motion, a second. Jim, I did want to just comment that I think this is a great idea to work with Norwood on the animal control officer. I think anytime we can share resources, that's a good thing and get, even better coverage. So just wanted to see if you want to add anything else.
Just that Henry has been doing a great job. He worked with John side by side for many years. He's a Walpole resident. He's been Norwood's animal control officer for a very long time. I know he's been stretched out. I know he's happy to have Jacqueline and William with him to assist. And we'll see how it goes. I know Jacqueline had other experience as an ACO in other communities, so that's good to have some experience, and William's looking to learn. So they're already working in the town. Henry showed me a video where he rescued a baby, a doe, out of a pit near H&V. He put it on his back and carried it up a ladder. So, yeah, just thank you to him, and I'm glad to work with Tony and the town of Norwood and their select board.
Great. That's dedication, Jim.
It is.
So we have a motion, a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I'll make a motion per Mass General Law, Chapter 54, Section 12, to appoint the Democratic Town Committee and Republican Town Committee lists of election officers as presented in our packet.
Second?
We have a motion, a second. Any comments or questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I have a motion to approve the request of Nancy Niles to use the town forest pond on August 10th, 2021, from 10:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. for a fishing fundraiser.
Second?
We have a motion, a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
A motion to approve a request for Jalapenos Grill for a one-day entertainment permit for live music on August 27th, 2021, from 7 to 11 p.m.
Second?
We have a motion, a second. Any comments or questions? Aoife, you happy with all the arrangements? Yes. Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I'll make a motion to approve the request for Andrew Bell to hold a block party on August 29th, 2021, from 2 to 7 p.m. on Brown Drive and Oak Hill Road.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I have a motion to approve a request for Chris Pender for a one-day all-alcohol license from 2 to 10 p.m. at North Walpole Fishing Game Club for a fundraiser.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
A motion to approve the request of Michael Mon for a one-day all-alcohol license and a one-day entertainment permit for September 18th, 2018, from 12 to 5 p.m. at the Walpole Sportsmen's Association.
Second?
Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
So consent agenda, I'm going to make a motion to accept with gratitude the following donations. A donation from Thomas and Deborah Roy in the memory of Fran Palmieri to the Council on Aging gifts, from Barbara Conk to, in memory of Robert Moody, to the Council on Aging gifts, and the Walpole Women's Club to the library gifts.
So I'll second that. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of July 13th, 2021, as presented in our packets.
Second?
Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Administrators update.
Sure, just a few items here. Capital budget. Department heads have submitted their request a few months ago. Capital budget's going to start meeting on August 24th. I believe we'll probably have our free cash number certified by then. They'll likely review the recommendations with the Finance Committee in early September and be ready to go. Master plan, the planning board's moving forward with developing the master plan. They've instructed the consultant to interview members of the following boards and committees: the Select Board, Planning Board, Library Trustees, Sewer and Water Commission, Housing Authority, School Committee, Conscom, Board of Health. I spoke to the chair today. He's informed me they'll be selecting their board representatives on August 19th and discussing this matter further that evening. So if you're interested, just tune in or attend the meeting there that night. Southwood Hospital, I haven't talked about this in a while just because there hasn't been much development. I did want to let you know it's still on my radar screen. I spoke to the Norfolk Town Administrator today, actually. She advised me that the zoning currently does not allow a warehouse. I know there's been a lot of talk on Facebook about a warehouse being placed up there. But before they even get to the point of talking what's going to happen up there, they're analyzing all the environmental issues. The cleanup and remediation of the site is going to be done before any project's considered, she's assured me. Project owner had the idea of the warehouse, but it's been met with some pushback from not only Walpole neighbors, but also residents in Norfolk. They'll need special legislation to lift the deed restriction to allow the site, which was only allowed to be used as a hospital. So there's a whole process that's going to be laid out for that site. So much more to come, and she's agreed to involve me going forward, keep me in the loop. And Patrick's been working with their planner too. So much more to come, but just wanted to let you know they're focused only on cleanup right now, and there's a lot of hurdles they have to go through to get not only the state legislature, but they have to go through their town meeting to get the zoning change down there. So that's it for me.
It'd be great if we could stay on top of that one. I know there's a lot of people down in South Walpole who are very interested in what's happening there and worried. So I'm glad that you're going to be involved with them and, hopefully know what's happening, and we can keep our residents informed.
Yeah, and the Sewer and Water Commission a couple of meetings ago did ask for some monitoring wells to be placed on the field site just to monitor the water trend and where it's going. And Rick's already working with, I think he's working possibly with Weston and Sampson to figure out where to locate those wells. But we'll keep a very close eye on it, obviously, because we have big interest there.
Great. Any other questions or comments for Jim?
I just had one comment on I appreciate the update on the master plan, Jim, so we'll have to tune into that. But somebody had asked me the other day, they had heard, and I don't know who they heard it from, but that we don't actually need a master plan, we're not required to do that until 2024. And what I told him at the time was, well, whether we need it then or not, I think we can all see from our downtown and the things that are going on, how quickly the pace of change is hitting Walpole, that we ought to get started before that. So whether that's a requirement or not, I'm not sure, but I'd rather get it done sooner than later, so I'm glad that Planning Board is working on it.
Yes.
I would chime in on that as well. You know, I did my interview with the Barrett Group last night, so in preparation for that, I re-skimmed the original document from 2004 and some of the background material. And it was really a great document. It looked at all aspects of town life, looked forward, tried to project what things were gonna look like. I think it really is a great document. And then there was an update in 2009, and then we did our facilities master plan, and I know we did a field study. So when you look at that document as the key point in 2004 that we grew from, it'll be really great to get a new document and then grow from it, you know, with updates on 5 years. And so it was really an instrumental document, so I agree with Ben, so. Let me go to Jim.
Two quick things. Capital budget requests, and thinking ahead to the 300th celebration. I know we've talked about this in the past.
Yes.
And we said we should be thinking about putting a capital.
Already request
It's in,
submitted,
okay,
yeah.
good.
And there, your board some time ago, before Glenn joined, talked with the National League of Cities to do a racial equality study. That's in there too.
Good, okay, thank you. And then just a comment, I was up at the fields the other night with the lights on. There was some kind of a, I don't know, a camp or a clinic or something going on up there. And it just can't help but just be blown away by how great that facility is. And there were a ton of people up there, a ton of cars. It was very actively being used. And just, you know, and it's not even done yet, you know, they're still working through that drainage thing. And so that around the backside, by the backside of the baseball field, you still can't really get down in there. But, you know, just to go down there and stand in the fields and look at them and see what, you know, we've accomplished here, it's just an amazing thing. And, you know, we really should be very proud of it. It's a beautiful facility.
Yeah. I'm spending a lot of time up there. I came
Yeah, I know you are.
football practice
I
today.
know you are.
To add one thing to it, having grown up in South Walpole, when I was there, we didn't even have sidewalks. You know, there weren't any sidewalks on Winter Street. Those got put in from prison mitigation money. And I can tell you, you know, there was a lot of comments about kids not gonna be able to get there because you'd have to drive there. Well, South Walpole didn't have any place to go before. Those kids are all riding their bikes, they're going up the back trail, and they are playing there all day. So they are having an absolute fabulous time. They are getting there completely safe, and they're getting home completely safe. So for a part of town that didn't have an ability to get anywhere other than being driven somewhere, it's super. It's absolutely
It
super.
really is.
I agree.
Yeah.
Glenn, any comments or questions? I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion to second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.